reacting to a Mr. Nightmare video. This came out a few nights ago, I believe, so this isn't like a specific genre, it's just like 3 true scary stories to keep you up at night. It's 12 minutes long, and again, always love having a little dose of Mr. Nightmare. It's kind of a weird way to say it, but you know what I mean. I always gotta love to have a nice Mr. Nightmare video to watch and react to, so let's go. I wonder what they're gonna be about.
My friend Keith has an uncle with dementia. Long story short, his uncle usually lives with his grandma, but she was in Florida with some church group for the week, and Keith was going on a business trip. So while he was gone, he hired me to house sit. This included watching after and taking care of his uncle. I'll call him Uncle Nick. Keith would only be gone for 2 days. On the first day of my house sitting, I mostly just hung out in the backyard reading and tanning, or in the living room watching TV.
Okay.
I cooked twice. Each time I made extra food for Uncle Nick, but I never saw him come out of his room upstairs.
Sus.
I went up to knock on his door lightly and tell him I made food. I heard a grunting noise on the other side of the door. I assumed that was his way of acknowledging me. I never actually met his uncle. Oddly enough, we weren't introduced when Keith hired me for this little job.
That's odd.
Uncle Nick was fully aware of my being there. At least that's what Keith said. He never left his room to eat while I was in the living room, so I went up to Keith's spare room for the night. I left the door cracked open so I could listen, and I eventually heard a door down the hall opening and unsettlingly quick and heavy footsteps moving down the hall and down the stairs.
Sus.
Seconds later, I heard the same footsteps rush back up the stairs and back to the room.
It's kind of like you ran down to get the food and closed it right away.
It was honestly a little unnerving. Hard to explain, just the intensity of his footsteps. Like he was avoiding me or something.
Clearly.
The next day was pretty similar to the first. I made 2 meals and left the food on the counter for Uncle Nick both times. When I was laying in the backyard again, I came back in to see the plate was empty. So I guess he was really avoiding me.
He is, clearly.
Went back out to tan some more. And when I thought about it, I looked up to the bedroom Nick was staying at. And there he was, looking at me through the window. I think when he noticed me, he ducked down. I felt so uncomfortable that I folded up the blanket and went back inside and up to the spare bedroom. It was okay. One more night of this and I'd be home.
If you're alive next
I
time.
ate dinner that night and left him another plate. As I walked up to the spare bedroom, I noticed his bedroom door was open now. First time I'd seen that. Maybe he was becoming less shy. I went to brush my teeth and go to my room for the rest of the night to give him his space. I was having a rough time sleeping though. I just wasn't tired at all. While laying there in the dark, I heard a short creaking sound coming from inside the room, even over the noise of the fan next to me. I sat up and looked around, still able to slightly see in the dark room. I didn't see anything. More specifically, I didn't see Uncle Nick. I was getting paranoid, honestly.
Oh my god, turn the light on, get your
so
phone.
creeped out by him.
Turn your flashlight on.
I lay back down on my side, facing the wall next to the bed. I ignored the little sounds I thought I was hearing in my head for the most part. But when I heard a very faint groan, I sat up and turned off the fan to listen. I heard breathing. I turned to the far right side of the room by the desk, and there he was, sitting on the desk chair, turned to me. I screamed in fear, and he came up to me going shh and covered my mouth with his hand. In the moment, I thought he was trying to suffocate me, so I pushed him off of me and ran to the nearest bathroom to lock the door. I listened as I heard his manic footsteps rush back to his room and slam the door. My heart was pounding inside my chest. I called Keith and told him about it. He sounded like he wasn't even that shocked. That's the scary thing. He told me it's best I sleep in the bathroom with the door locked. And when he said that, it said to me that his Uncle Nick is potentially dangerous, which scares me even more.
Yeah, it's kind of like, why'd you want me
I
to sleep in
slept
the house
maybe
then?
3 hours max that night on the bathroom floor. And in the morning, I quickly packed my backpack and waited out in the backyard for Keith to return. He paid me extra for what I had to deal with. And I suggested he get his uncle some serious help.
Yeah, but doesn't he have dementia or
I think he has
something?
more than dementia, and I still don't know what his intentions were that night.
You never know. I don't know exactly what dementia is or what it makes you have, but I know it makes you forget or something. makes you kind of like a little giddy maybe, or is that schizophrenia? I don't know exactly,
My
but
dad once told us a true scary story of his from when he was in his 20s.
okay.
When he was still living with my grandparents, he lived next door to this older couple in their 60s. One winter, the wife Margie next door went missing. The husband knocked on their door and asked my grandparents if they'd seen her.
I bet she's probably the one that
They
killed her.
hadn't. No one had, apparently. A few days later, my dad was out at the park playing football with friends.
He's the one that
That's
did
when
the
it
guy.
started to snow. They played in the snow for a while until it got to be too much. Then they all went their separate ways back home. When my dad got home, he realized his parents were gone. My dad started the fireplace and went to his room, which was adjacent to the living room, to throw his stuff on his bed. Then he went to take a warm shower.
Okay.
When he got out from the shower, he thought he heard humming from the living room outside the bathroom. He opened the door a crack in his towel and said, "Mom?" The humming stopped, but a creaking sound continued. My dad threw on his clothes in the bathroom and walked out into the living room. There in my grandpa's old rocking sofa chair was Margie from next door. She looked straight at my dad and said, "It was so cold I needed to get warm." My dad ran next door to get the husband, but when the two of them returned to the living room, the sofa chair was empty and Margie was gone.
What?
The two of them searched the whole house together, calling her name, but she wasn't there.
Do you
Now,
imagine
this
it?
much of the story was enough to creep me out already when my dad told it to us. But it didn't end there, and the really scary part didn't happen until the next day.
Oh
When
god.
Margie's dead body was found in the man next door's crawl space,
Told you.
where she apparently tripped and sliced her head open on a sharp object.
Oh.
He only found her because the smell became so unbearable he smelt it from the garage. The thing is, the body was deemed to have been dead for at least 3 days.
Ha.
Yet my dad saw her in the living room just the day before.
Wait. I was thinking the guy killed her.
My dad believes he saw the ghost of Margie in my grandparents' living room that day. My dad's not one to make stuff like this up. When he first told us this story when I was 9, let's just say I didn't get much sleep that night.
Well, yeah, don't tell the story at night. Tell it in the morning or something. That's the best time to tell a story, so you can still sleep at night, hopefully. Well, it's not necessarily true, but that was definitely scary.
There's a lot of Black Lives Matter protesting going on in my area. Now, before I write anything else, I want to disclose that I fully support the Black Lives Matter movement. However, this is my personal opinion that the looting and rioting are not okay, and anyone participating in those acts should not be associated with the peaceful protesters. But unfortunately, mixed in with the peaceful protesters are the looters and rioters hiding in plain sight. A few nights ago, many stores and houses in the town next to mine were broken into and robbed, and a lot of car windows were smashed. There were rumors from the cops in our friend group that our town would be a target the next night. We stayed up a little later than usual the next night for that reason, and while watching a movie together as a family, we had to mute the TV when we heard yells from outside. We checked out the window, and a large group of young men with masks on were parading down the street. They weren't holding protest signs or anything. They were just being loud and, by the sound of it, cursing a lot. But they didn't appear to be damaging any property, so we went back to our movie. Then after that, my parents went to sleep. I stayed up later in my room playing a video game with the headset on so I could talk to my friends. Eventually, I grew bored and tired and turned the system off and went downstairs to get a glass of water for bed.
Okay.
As I passed the little half stairway to our den on my way to the kitchen, I looked down there and saw something big sitting on the carpet by the window. I went down the stairs, and when I picked it up, I realized what it was.
A rock?
It was the glass of the window, broken, but all taped up as if to make the glass shattering easier or quieter. I ran to my parents' room to get my dad. When he saw it, he called the police. The response time was outrageously long. My dad said we were lucky the line wasn't busy, as the 911 calls recently by us have skyrocketed. When the police came to search the house, it didn't seem anything was stolen or anyone was in the house. They had to respond to another call within 20 minutes, but they said to call back if something else happened. My dad and I opted to sleep in the den for the rest of the night to prevent anything else from happening, so my mom went back upstairs. Time rolled on slowly, but eventually I think my dad fell asleep. A large rift of wind hit me in the face through the opening where glass used to be, causing me to open my eyes and look at the window. No one was out there, but for some reason I thought I heard something come from upstairs. So I went up the half flight of stairs thinking maybe it was my mom. When I
Okay.
got to the kitchen, I continued to hear noises from above me, so I walked upstairs, and the noises were still coming from above me. What else was above?
On the roof?
The attic.
The roof? The
I
attic?
went to the upstairs storage room, which had the attic door. I quietly opened it, revealing the short stairway to the attic. This is when the noises stopped. I didn't flick the light switch on. I just tiptoed halfway up the stairs to listen. That's all. The heavy silence was terrifying, considering I knew I was hearing noises from up here just a second ago.
Exactly.
I waited on one of the middle steps to hear something. Then I felt the hairs on my head being moved. Someone's fingers started running through the curls in my hair.
Oh my God.
This deep, short, cackling sound. I let out a cry for help from my dad, as all the confidence immediately left my body and I was overcome with horror. I ran out from the attic to meet my dad halfway down at the kitchen. He didn't go up to the attic. He once again called the police instead, when we heard shuffling and thumps from above us. The cops once again came, and upon entering the attic with their guns drawn, were able to locate someone. They came out of the attic with some creepy old man with a mask on, looking at my family and I and laughing as he walked out.
What?
When the cops asked him in the back of the car what he was planning on doing, he simply admitted right away that he's seen all the looting going on the news, that he wanted to join in on the fun. He made his way to our attic because he said that's where people store their most valuable possessions. Based on the way the man spoke and acted in general, you could tell he was certifiably insane. He told the cops that he was alone. Oddly enough, he answered all their questions no problem. But once again, this guy clearly had some screws loose or missing entirely. Feeling him brush his hand through my hair like that will probably haunt me for a long time, maybe even life. And one thing is for sure, I don't feel safe going in that attic anymore.
I wouldn't either. I would not go into the attic ever. Like, you have an attic above us, like, I would never go there. I don't know if I've ever been up there. I feel like I have, but I don't know. It was such a long time ago. Right, so all those stories were definitely really creepy. Can you imagine just like some like a random stranger, like, you know, someone's upstairs, like for example, let's just say in your room. Let's just say you're kind of like going up the stairs and you kind of feel like, it wouldn't work for my staircase because it's an almost staircase going up. It's not like a necessarily an attic entrance, so it's just kind of like, yeah, but like, I don't know, just imagining someone like putting your, ooh, it's like, what the fuck, I'd be going ape shit, like, I'd be like, like I totally go ape shit, so no, it would not be good. But, wow. I'm glad he got caught. I'm glad he was nice, honest about it, you know. So, yeah, now I see why they brought up the protests things. But yeah, I definitely agree with what they're doing, but like all like the smashing, the destroying. I noticed some people don't really care about them destroying like the police stuff, but like when they destroy like other people's like innocent people stuff, like cars, houses, etc., you know. But like if it's like a police station or police vehicle, they don't really, I notice people don't care that much because like it is about the police, right? So it's not like you're damaging someone else's like random vehicle. But again, all cops aren't bad though. But again, I did hear something about like someone saying, oh yeah, like all blacks aren't criminals, or this, all this aren't that. So it's kind of like, hey, well, like we're not gonna, like, you didn't listen to us, like why the hell do you think we're gonna listen to you when you say all cops aren't bad? Because like that goes for anybody. All whites are not good or bad. All blacks may not be good or may not be bad. All Asians may not be good or bad, you know, like, it doesn't matter, you know, like who you are. Like you can be black and an amazing person, whereas some people think, oh my god, you're black, you're a criminal, you know. It's not like that. Like you could literally be a black person and be the best person ever. You could be a white person and be complete trash, you know. It doesn't mean that just because you're white means you're good, or just because you're black means you're bad, you know. That's not how it works. Like I don't get why people think that. It depends on like who you are personality wise, you know, like, and who you are generally. So again, I agree with the protests, just not the way they're dealing with it, exactly like doing all the stuff they're doing, but I know there has been protests in my country, even my own city actually too, so they're happening everywhere, not just USA, like Canada, I think even Iran or like England, UK or something like that, they're happening in a lot of places, which is obviously good. I heard something again about like in Atlanta, a black guy shooting, or no, a black guy being killed by like a white cop or something, and I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. And then the officer was fired. I don't know if he's gonna get charged, but like this has to stop, you know, like all this pointless killing. Like, to be fair, he was a resisting, but it doesn't mean you killed him. Like if they're, the only reason you pull out a weapon or like a taser is to like stop them, right? Like a gun is to kind of like the last resort, you know, like if they're trying to shoot you or something, or if there's harm to you or others, or the safety of the public, then you shoot, but not with the intention to kill. Unless they're trying to kill you, I still wouldn't even try to kill them. I would shoot on their leg or foot. Again, you can still die if you like lose too much blood, but like, you know, like it's better than shooting them in the head or the freaking chest or something, you know. Even the arms to make them a bit like weaker, you know, so you can get them. At most, I would say don't use your guns and stuff because that's obviously not necessary. Only under certain circumstances are they necessary, which probably isn't that often, but you know. There's my little rant on the protests, on my opinion on the whole Black Lives Matter protests, and about, you know, the thing. And the other two stories were scary too. Just like be sure to get curtains, like make sure you have curtains, make sure if it seems sus, it probably is, you know, like you know, if something seems wrong, then there's probably something wrong. Like don't just think, oh yeah, I'm probably just imagining it, or I'm just thinking this is bad, but it's totally fine. No, it's not fine. Okay. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and be sure to like this video as well. And if you have any other suggestions, be sure to let me know them in the comments below, and I'll answer them hopefully within a week or so. And that's gonna be it for now. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.